Last week, I spent a lot of time just watching content on and maybe not a lot of time, but I spent some time watching content on agentic AI and AI. I remember I was listening to the DOAC podcast with the CEO of Replit, Daniel Priestley, and Brett. I can't remember Brett's last name, but I remember I was listening to them and it was for the second time too. And it just made me think of how agentic AI and maybe I hesitate to say AI in general because I don't even really know what that is. But agentic AI, like the ability to be able to create systems that can what is even agentic AI? Artificial intelligence systems designed for autonomous operations. So last week I started off by listening to the DOAC content, and then I went on to search a little bit more about it. And that was when I was like, hold on, agentic AI and AI in general, I guess, is kind of similar to how social media came out in 2012, 2013. Well, social media didn't really come out in 2012, 2013, but like social media like was just on the scene in 2012, 2013, 2014, whatever. And then before that, the internet was pretty big in the early 2000s. Again, these are rough numbers, and I looked at it like this is an opportunity, right? Like there's a new technology that's on the scene. No one really knows how to use it yet, but eventually, some people are going to just experiment with it. Some people are going to learn how to use it to really create some value for other people, and those people I think are going to do very well. I think I came across another podcast, the Jack Neal podcast, with I believe the title was something about an investor who made 80 million from TikTok. And I was just watching that, and he said, bro, like if you have an opportunity in this day and age to really go and learn about AI and how to use it to solve problems, because eventually everybody's going to know how to do it, right? So I spent a lot of time consuming content around it. And for some reason, it made me think about when I was initially learning how to edit videos back in 2021, I would say back in 2021. By the way, last week I decided that I was going to go full on into. Actually, last week I hadn't decided that I was going to go full on into learning how to use AI and agentic AI. But I basically searched up what tools I would need to use to learn it. When I saw it, I saw like three different tools were like the most popular. It was N8N, Make.com, and Zapier. And I spent some time being like, okay, so what's the best tool to spend, or what's the best tool to learn if I want to really get into this sort of thing? And it reminded me of when I was in 2021 trying to figure out what sort of editing software I really needed to get into. And fast forward 4 years, I'm here today, right? Having learned how to edit. And I've learned from that experience that the tool that I use really doesn't matter, right? Like if I pick N8N or I pick Zapier or I pick Make.com, it really doesn't matter if I want to use that to learn or get into agentic AI. It's not a big deal because what matters isn't even being good at using the tool. What matters is being good at using the tool to solve problems, right? If it was back in 2012, 2013, whatever, and I was focused on trying to be the best video editor or trying to be an incredible video editor, I think I would have lost the plot, assuming that my plan was to make a lot of money, right? I think the better focus would be on learning, obviously, first of all, getting into social media and what that really is, learning the skill of video editing to be able to just create videos. It's not about being the best video editor, but it's just about being good at making videos. And then figuring out that the real value was actually in the amount of traffic that social media was getting. And so if I was the same age that I am with the brain that I have right now, but it was back in 2012, 2013, 2014, I would actually learn how to maximize the amount of traffic that was coming towards my social media account, right? That's what I would learn how to do. And back then it wasn't really common knowledge, right? Like nowadays there's people have put out whole systems to be able to teach others how to also grow their accounts, right? But back then it wasn't super popular. But if I was the same age that I am now, back then, that's what I would have focused on. Not on being good at video editing. It would actually, I think the big leverage, the huge opportunity would have been in just growing accounts and building audiences back in 2012, 2013. You would have been ahead of the curve. So I'm trying to apply that to today, right? The big opportunity here isn't to be the best automator, right? It's not being the best at at AI automation. It's not being the best at using agentic software or agentic platforms or whatever. I think the big leverageable opportunity here is being really good at systemizing or solving some sort of business problem, right? Like if you can be somebody that learns how to use AI or agentic software to close sales faster, right? Or close bigger sales, right? If you can be somebody that can leverage agentic software to generate a lot more leads or generate more qualified leads, or if you can be somebody who gets really good at using agentic software to generate, sorry, if you can be somebody that gets really good at using agentic software to build or create content that can then be used to build whole audiences, I think that's the leverageable opportunity right there. And so that's one of the things that I was focusing my mind on last week. Just the realization that, hey, if I really want to get into this thing, don't focus so heavy on being the best at using the tool, right? Focus on solving business problems, specifically business problems, because you hear about how people say, if you want to get rich, you need to solve rich people problems. In this scenario, rich people are the businesses. So if you can solve businesses problems, for example, if you can close more sales using agentic software, or you can generate more leads, or you can build a bigger audience, that's solving business problems, and that's the kind of thing that you can definitely use to get rich if that's something that you want to do. You're gonna have a much easier time getting into AI right now because I think there's less competition, right? Not because nobody really knows how to use this, right, to its fullest extent. If you can be one of the first people in the world, maybe not number one, but if you can be one of the first people in the world to really get good at using this to solve business problems, I think that's a high leverage opportunity. Those are the things that I thought about last week. What do you think?